Hello and welcome to the Knockoff Present Mike show. I'm your host, Knockoff Present Mike, and this is me drawing Plague Doctors. Mike is a horrible procrastinator edition, because I am in fact a horrible procrastinator, and so, yeah, sorry I haven't uploaded in a while. I had a lot of homework and also a lot of stuff, but you probably don't care about my excuses, so on to Speed Paint, where I talk about world lore and stuff.
Hi, hello and welcome to the Knockoff Present Mike show. You heard that intro, right? I absolutely should have just said hello and welcome to the Knockoff Present Mike show, where our YouTubering is bad and our logic is worse. Because that's what happened. I absolutely forgot to check if the video was in focus for most of this thing. Yeah, you guys are just gonna have to deal, and I will talk about Plague Doctors. So, you can probably see there are a lot of Plague Doctors there. My arm is covering half of them. Ugh. This is the first video where I've ever actually written any notes. So, Plague Doctors are semi-sentient. They're mostly a species of cryptid in my story. Cryptids are sort of replace the normal animals. They're not really a cryptid. They're actually mostly a fully sentient species, but yeah. I can't draw hats, if you're wondering why the hats look so weird. They have this sort of social hierarchy, where, it's actually more of a form of government, and the babies are called docklings. Did I, in fact, steal this from a Tumblr post? Yes, I did. Are you gonna blame me? No, you're not, because you're watching this content. Basically, it goes docklings, your regular average Plague Doctor, city head, country head, city head, country head, it's either country head or region head, I cannot remember, I am in fact watching it right now, country head, yeah, it's just goes city head, country head, and then continent head. They do not have any necks. I decided this really late into the design process. It's not that their necks are really short, it's just that they do not have necks. No one's ever actually seen a Plague Doctor without their mask, no one's seen a Plague Doctor's skin, and no one has ever seen a dockling. Docklings don't get their canes until they're slightly older, and when they're young, it's a really big ceremonial thing for them. So there's and since docklings are far more violent, they end up they will end up taking candy canes and sharpening them into points to hit people with. Because sometimes Plague Doctors, when they're annoyed enough with you, will hit you with their canes. They don't speak, they have this form of sign language, and they also speak through, like, gestures with their canes. They're extremely polite for the most part, unless they're, like, a couple of my characters have Plague Doctors following them. Ira Raziel is a notable example. They feed off stress. My characters are at a college campus. Ira works 3 jobs on top of being a PhD student. Ira is their favorite person. She has a very specific one that follows her around. These are sort of the most average possible examples of Plague Doctors, by the way. They just sort of Plague Doctor. They vibe. They don't have any personalization whatsoever because they're supposed to be like that to show you what they can look like. They Docklings are usually found in groups, but they're the only age ever really found in groups. The rest of them are solitary. Plague doctors can teleport. They Docklings, when they can't find candy canes, will occasionally just pick up sticks off the ground, and it's really cute. And sometimes you can just see a plague doctor just sort of wandering around, and then with a horde of Docklings following them. There's a non-canon scene that might end up turning into fanfiction that I write about my own series, where one of the characters, world-renowned jerk, Zalir, whatever the heck his last name is, I can't remember. Father metaphor. He's literally a metaphor for my father. But anyway, a bunch of plague doctors surround him, like, you are causing too much stress. You are actively being detrimental to the health and safety of this college campus. We will hit you with sticks. Because they do care about health and safety. They can often be found in the back of science classrooms and such. They really want to learn. They've historically appeared around times like wars and plagues and times of great communal stress. But at the moment, they feed off individual stress because there hasn't been a big communal stress event in the last 200 years because, humans are currently being thrown out of literally everywhere because no one likes the humans in this. They did in fact kill, like, an entire subspecies of demons, so everyone is completely justified in hating humans. But still, everyone hates humans, and since humans were the cause of most stress, because currently it's like magical peacetime TM, except it's not gonna be for much longer. So basically, they make small chirp, and whir sounds like, or sounds, and sometimes they just and stuff like, and sometimes it's like a whir chirp sound. But other than that, they're completely nonverbal. They are sentient, and at one point Ira becomes the spokesperson for all of people because they trust her. Usually people refer to plague doctors as it, but Ira's plague doctor, currently the main plague doctor being studied because it's the most available one, because it's wandering around a college campus following the closest thing they have to a principal, so yeah. This plague doctor, sort of becomes a pet plague doctor of sorts. They refer to him as an it for a while, until he starts hitting people's ankles with his cane when they refer to him as an it. And there's just this one very specific scene that I have in mind that's kind of not... I'm not gonna say it on YouTube. Yeah, it'd be funny, though. It'd be more of a fanfic scene than an actual book scene, because... and they're mostly solitary, and yes, I am aware that my hair is in these shots most of the time. I'm very sorry. I'm a bad YouTuber. They really, really, really like learning. Like, a lot. So, but they're generally viewed as vermin. Also, just, yeah. Um, uh, Sometimes a plague doctor will follow Castiel around. Castiel is the one covered in bandages. If you remember, you probably don't, because I really doubt people actually care about my essays. Cass is a part-time plague doctor, who's sort of just there. And eventually in the second books, because spoilers, this is not a big spoiler, but Julian ends up with a sort of team of plague doctors. Also, as plague doctors increase in rank, they get higher and their outfits get fancier. Docklings aren't aware that they're not really supposed to make noise, because Docklings aren't prim and proper yet. Sometimes you'll see them mimicking their parents, and it's super cute. But Docklings will end up churring and whirring a lot more, and also they are out of all of the ranks, they are the most likely to hit you with a stick. Sometimes they'll pick up sticks bigger than them and just chase someone around with them. They're very, very small. There is no sexual dysmorphism with plague doctors. And there also there's like there's their masks are extremely important, and I have not yet decided if their mask is just their skull or if it's an actual mask. But their masks get taken away if they get banished for various things, including but not limited to medical malpractice and murder. They're very, very sciencey, almost more sciencey than witches, because witches are a respected high-class species, TM. It means they have a superiority complex. They're way more science focused than even witches. Witches are more just general knowledge focused. Plague doctors are intent about learning about science, and they're very, very, very excited about it all the time. And yeah. So the reading through my notes. Yeah. Their hats are rather varied, especially for something that may or may not actually be something that is biological. Nobody really knows anything about plague doctors. No shapeshifters ever actually gotten close enough to mimic their genome. The closest a shapeshifter has ever gotten to touching a plague doctor for long enough to copy their genes, is Ma'ingan, and it was entirely while a plague doctor was hitting them with a stick aggressively for that one joke scene that I'm not gonna say on YouTube because parents watch this. Sometimes you'll find them in high school science classrooms, and no one likes them there usually. It varies from teacher to teacher. But some teachers view them as like squirrels and distracting, but usually they can just sneak in because species are varied enough that someone's just like, oh, someone's in a costume, or just no one notices them because they just teleport in and just sit in the back of the classroom taking notes. They have these little notebooks that no one's allowed to see inside. They're always scribbling away in them, and before anyone can get close enough to look at them, they teleport, and they get really attached to Julian when they meet him, because like Medical Man has notebook like us. Also, I'm gonna teach myself to animate exclusively so I can animate like a bunch of Plague Doctor vibing to the Furret Walk song. You know the Furret Walk song? The Furret Walk song. They're the only cryptid I currently have any stats for. Their danger ranking is sort of in S. It's like an S1 solely because their sentience is unknown and they have sharp, pointy sticks. They're actually currently a contender. If they come forward, they're going to be the first sentient species discovered in a while. Discovered is in air quotes because they're not discovered. They're just a species that's sort of always been there, and they just did not want to talk to you. Sometimes that's how it works, folks. So yeah. No one's ever even seen their skin. And it's just sort of unknown. They're a really unknown species. They're very, yeah. So there's that. No one knows much about them other than, yeah, they just sort of vibe. They're mostly harmless, not super harmless. They're kind of scary, but like, yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. Like and subscribe for more utter chaos. Yeah.
I just deleted half the footage on the SD card. But, yeah. So, this part's gonna be in not actually, voiceover. It's not gonna be voiceovered because I'm just having to show you what I did while I was gone. Or technically while I lost all the footage. So, yeah. I finished the head of the continent and the head of the country. I lost a bunch of footage, and I have to refilm the section where I show you this. So yeah, here is the world head of the Plague Doctors. I got made fun of in the class chat for them being thick with 2 C's. So yeah, they're yeah, here they are. I don't know. I was really proud of these legs. So despite all of the other plague doctors having skirts, this one's wearing a pair of pants. And I thought might just give you some close-ups of these, because you didn't get any. This is the Dockling. See the little candy cane? Yeah. This is the average plague doctor. The city head doctor. I may or may not have gotten some inspiration from Pinterest, so if this looks vaguely familiar, that's probably where it's from. This is the country head plague doc. This is the head of the country. They're cool. I'm using a gold I used a gold Sharpie for this, so yeah. That's why it's shiny. This is the head of of a continent. These are very, very generic, mind you. And yeah. There's only a couple of continent heads in this world, because there's not many continents, even less than the real life. And yeah, I can't draw hats. You may have noticed. Anyway, yeah, plague doctors. I like them, and I dedicated an entire video to them. Yeah.